We'll talk a lot about the Nuggets because that's where the West is going to go through for the foreseeable future. A lot of people in the comments yesterday saying, this is a flash in the pan.
Nah.
Well, Jokic is not going anywhere. Murray's not going anywhere. And now they have that championship pixie dust where they know what it takes to play at this stage. They will not be rattled. They'll not be frazzled. And Mike Malone, their head coach, already put it out there. 5 minutes after they won the damn basketball game and won their first ever NBA championship, Mike Malone, who's not at a loss for words, basically says, we're not satisfied. The next step, he goes, you go from being wanting to be somebody to being somebody, to being a contender to being the champion. Now it's about time to become a dynasty. So Mike Malone is talking that talk and putting the targets right on their backs. But you know what? He got some players where it's going to be tough to take away from the Denver Nuggets. So give them their credit. But that's where the bar is right now, Shasky, in my head, as a Warrior fan. It's how do you get better to beat the Denver Nuggets when it counts in May or June?
How are you going to battle with Jokic? You know, what are you going to throw at him? Size, speed, strength, athleticism? How do you slow him down? Like, that's the number one thing. I think a lot of teams are going to be trying to find the next way to stop this dude, whether it's a defensive schematic, whether it's particular personnel or a body type. You've got to find something to counterbalance how great he is. And then it's not just him, right? That's the thing that I look at the Nuggets. Yes, he's their top dog. You could call him the straw. You want to call him the liquid and the straw? Fine. But he stirs that drink, and Jamal Murray plays off him so beautifully. And Jamal Murray can take over games at times off the dribble. And then you've got, obviously, Gordon fitting in where he gets in, Caldwell Pope. What a great trade that was for them with Washington, and then you acquire your guy Aaron Gordon, and that was a great trade for them as Orlando was doing kind of a fire sale at the deadline a couple years ago. So, look, two things can be true. Right now, everything runs through them. That I agree with. But come on, Mike Malone, pump the brakes on the D word. Win two before you get to the D word. That's all I'm saying. Like, nothing pisses me off more in just life in general when we go from 0 to 2,000.
Well, you know what? I'm not mad at it. He's channeling his inner Pat Riley. He's channeling his inner Pat Riley, where he said he wanted to go back to back with the Showtime Lakers.
No, he didn't say back to back.
He didn't say back to
dynasty.
back. He said dynasty, but he said I want to get greedy here. Later on in the presser, he said dynasty. I want to be. That's the next step in becoming a dynasty.
The first one, okay.
But the first interview where he's on the podium, he said, "Look, man, I'm not satisfied with just one. I'm not satisfied with just one."
That's a fair perspective.
And you know what?
You know what? He's got the top dog on the planet.
Hey, he earned it. He heard all the talk about the Lakers. He heard all about Rui Hachimura trying to defend Nikola Jokic. He heard about Miami Heat and Heat culture and, oh, boy, they're physical and they figure something out. Mike Malone has earned the right to talk that talk. He has. He got jettisoned out of Sacramento when he shouldn't have been. Mm-hmm. He goes to Denver. They remain patient with him. And, a lot of people are talking about the CBA when it comes to the Denver Nuggets. Like, they're not going to be able to keep these players. It's going to cost them a lot to keep these players. Do people not know who their owner is? It's Stan Kroenke. Who do we know about Stan Kroenke?
More rich, successful, cutthroat businessman on the planet.
How does he run the LA Rams?
Pretty cutthroat.
Money's flying off the table, right?
Well, not only that, they're bold as hell. So they'll pay for anyone, cut anyone, meaning pay them off to go away. Think about the Todd Gurley move. Just that move in particular. Everyone thought it was crazy to pay dead cap $20-something million. And they won a championship.
They won a Super Bowl.
Almost immediately after.
Right. So, Stan Kroenke.
And he also has sued St. Louis just to get out of there to build billions of dollars worth of stadiums in L.A.
SoFi Stadium. I mean, it's a jewel. It's just beautiful.
One of my favorite venues in sports.
By the way, I want to get to venues because Jacksonville just had their rendering.
Did you see that?
And Buffalo's had their rendering. And Nashville, Tennessee's had their rendering. And I'm looking at Levi's Stadium, and I like our sight lines at Levi's.
They are nice sight lines.
But boy,
we're getting
I'd be lying. I'll be lying if I said I wouldn't have been jealous of what's going on in Jacksonville, Buffalo, and Nashville, Tennessee, and LA with SoFi.
Quick aside on that. It reminds me of when Baltimore redid their baseball park, and then everyone went with that more nostalgic, bricky look, old school, early 1900s look, even though you wanted it to be modern.
Right.
And it's like the Niners built one of those multi-purpose stadiums from the 70s.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we just missed out on how everyone's going. So Minnesota to me stepped the bar up. with their football
US
stadium.
Bank Stadium.
It just looked ridiculous. And then obviously the Rams stepped theirs up, and the Vegas Raiders have a sweet stadium. And it feels like we just missed the mark.
Well,
had we waited a couple of years, maybe we would have upped the game significantly higher. I don't know. Do you get the analogy I'm trying to make there?
But you know what? I'm thinking about Jerry's World. They built that before Levi's Stadium.
Is Jerry World that much better than Levi's? As someone who's been to both?
Jerry's World's a little... The video board is huge. I love the way the sun creeps into the stadium through West Texas. Mm-hmm. It's better, and there's a lot more around it.
I love how hard it was for you to admit that.
Shasky, there was a Walmart across the street. I left my belt in San Francisco. It's like, I need a belt. This is going to be a problem. The bus driver from the hotel to the stadium, which is about a 10-minute ride, shuttle ride, she goes, oh, there's a Walmart right across the street from the stadium.
That's pretty clutch.
All the food chains.
Pretty clutch.
I mean, it was...
That's pretty clutch.
Jerry's World's better. Jerry's World's better. I mean, I hate to say it. I love my stadium. But I'm watching Jacksonville, I'm saying, damn.
Stan Kroenke, though, man, he's killing it right now.
He is killing it right now.
So the whole CBA thing, but again, see, this goes back to the 0 to 2000 thing. We can't even sniff the roses on the Nuggets. We have to go 2.5 years from now when the CBA hits. Like, Doctor, everyone shut up.
Is Mike Malone becoming a hated character? Is he? Where is he at now? Because I think he's been showing out.
You know what he reminds me of?
What's that?
Well, he's like the underling to. If Thibodeau's like one of the overworked DAs, homicide detectives, Mike Malone's like the new guy on the beat who came from a different county, and he's like coming in, and I'm going to change everything.
Oh, dude, he's a pit bull. I mean, after game 2, it's the NBA Finals, and we need effort. It's like, dude, this ain't rah-rah stuff. He gets a little tight. He does. And Jokic and Murray bails him out.
Talking about that.
He gets tight, man. He's been getting tight for years. But you know what? He's an NBA champion this morning, and he is flexing. He's all in the champagne showers. Oh. He's jumping up on the Jokic brothers. By this time next year, I could see Mike Malone being a hated figure because he's going to talk that talk now.
I hear you. You know, the thing that I keep coming back to, Bonte, is that very few times do we see kind of like a player finally get his just due when it was kind of absurd that we hated on him. Like, not hated on him, but like, oh, he doesn't have this particular accolade, so we're not going to give you any respect. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry had this happen for a long time. He's good, but he doesn't have an NBA Finals. Jokic, oh, he's good, but he hasn't won anything in the playoffs. Like, we do this, like the body of work of the regular season and what they do to carry their team to a certain spot means absolutely nothing until he wins a championship. And now, all of a sudden, he's got winner pixie dust on him. Jokic has been phenomenal.
Yes.
He is phenomenal. He will continue to be phenomenal. And I'm glad to see that we've all finally come to our senses and realized we are watching one of the great NBA players of all time. I don't know where he stacks up. He's in the middle of his career.
Let his career play out.
But Bonte, passing, footwork, leverage, shooting,
positioning,
touch, positioning.
He's got it all.
What's the hole in his game?
And some people say defensively he can't get out, but I thought he played well defensively.
He's got pretty good hands.
Putting his hands up, rebounding wise. He gets up off the ground. He doesn't look athletic at all, but next thing you know, he ends up with 16 rebounds. He ends up with 18 rebounds. So, look, let's wait for his career to play out before we start catapulting him above Tim Duncan and Hakeem Olajuwon. But right now, he is the best player in the league. He's earned that right. He's the best player in the world.
And he's in his prime.
And he's in his prime. And it's a scary, scary thought. He's going to win more NBA regular season MVPs with the way he plays. He's going to be...
You think he ends up, just for a second, you think that he could end up, like, but he's got 2 right now. You think he could end up with more than LeBron?
LeBron has 4.
Because I've had this conversation before, and it's like, well, I know there's a lot of LeBron haters, but it is going to be wild to me that we're going to wake up one day, LeBron's going to be out of the league, and we're like, he only won 4 MVPs in 20 years.
He should have won more.
And I'm not trying, and like, I know each year there's an argument for this guy and that guy. And
we get voter fatigue.
Like, what does Kobe have? 1?
He has 1.
Right?
Like, it really, and to be honest,
it feels like it doesn't tell the story of his career.
It doesn't, but he won the 1, and really, I thought that year it belonged to Chris Paul with the Hornets. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. Now, Kobe deserves 1, but maybe not that year. Shaq only has 1
He only
MVP.
has 1?
1 MVP.
See, now, again, I know, like, we can go year to year and kind of break it down on why. It's just funny to me. So, like I'm looking at someone like Jokic, Bonte, he could have 4 or 5 MVPs.
Like, how does
Couldn't you see it?
I could see it. Steve Nash has 2 MVPs. He should not have more than Shaq. That
does feel
bother me.
wrong, doesn't it?
That feels dirty.
But here's the other part: is Nash was freaking awesome in
Nash
those 2
was
years.
awesome. But Shaq was the most dominant player in the NBA.
Like the Derrick Rose one. I'm just using this as an example. I remember when Derrick Rose got it. He had a great year that year. LeBron was the best player on the planet.
LeBron was the best player on the planet.
And we just didn't want to give it to him because we hated that he went to the Miami Heat.
Yep.
He was the best player on the planet.
I mean, Iverson got his, Duncan, Garnett, Steve Nash, Dirk, Kobe. Then it was LeBron, D-Rose. LeBron won 4 and 5. Then you got KD. Steph. Westbrook really was the sympathy MVP. I mean,
It was a great year, though.
It was a great
I'm not
year,
trying to
but
cape up for Russ.
it was a great year, but that was a sympathy MVP.
Who would have been I forget who was was it Harden was the other
Harden
candidate?
was the other candidate. Harden was like the candidate for 3 straight years. He was pissed off. Then he finally got his.